Hi, so welcome back to Real Auto Reports. I'm Jonathan McGrew, and this is the 2014 Honda Accord. We're here at Real Auto Ranch for this Real First Impressions video, and this isn't just any Honda Accord. No, this is the hybrid. So this is going to be our first impressions on this vehicle, and you'll be able to compare this with the other first impressions we've done on the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, the Camry Hybrid, etc. So let's jump in and see what this car has to offer, and well, who knows what we might learn throughout this video. All right, so from the front, this is a nice look for the Honda. It's nothing too exaggerated, it's nothing too wild and crazy. So it is on the more conservative side, but I think it's not quite as conservative as the Toyota Camry Hybrid, but it's definitely not as bold as the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid that we've looked at here at Real Auto Reports. Some of the features I'd like to point out, though, are the LED running lights that run along the lower edge of the headlight housing. This is not going to be all that unusual in the Japanese car design kind of design language, if you will. You'll see this on Lexus and all sorts of things. Also, I want to point out these headlights that have a blue glow around them at night when they turn on, and the grille that has this kind of beveled blue look in it, and you can probably see that reflecting in the camera here. You also have your nice lower valence with your angled look for a little bit of aggression and a little bit of sportiness, and let's point out the adaptive cruise up here so that you do have some really high-tech features. So that's the eyeball like we see on our Dodge Charger that we have been testing. This is a neat vehicle. It is in a nice metallic black, and well, I mean, all things being equal from the front, it's a pretty tidy package. Let's go check out the side. All right, so from the side, this is a nice design. It has some nice curves, but the black makes it very hard to see on camera. So let me describe some of the things that we're seeing here. If you can see my hand here, there is a nice curve here in the belt line detail. So you have this line that comes through all the way into the tail light housing and all the way up front and kind of peters out in the front arch of the front wheel there. You also have this beautiful little curve here, and where the window line comes back and creates a soft detail into the top curve of the rear taillight housing here, and we'll show you how that wraps in the back when we look at it. The body is not really a slab side design, but it does have this lovely kind of lip here, and then another one down here in the bottom with a strong line in the back that kind of goes right along the rocker bottom there. It is a nice body with these accented with these chrome door handles and the touch system for the entry, the intelligent key. The other thing that's interesting is that you do have these new mirrors with a lot of design features in them themselves, where the turn signals here in the mirrors are inset and really a groove, if you can see my finger running along there. Now, it does have some features from a first impression I don't like in the mirrors, which is that kind of convex lens in the edge. They think it helps you see your blind spot. I find it makes me ill, frankly. It screws with my eyeballs. But on the passenger side, you have a hanging mirror here that is integrated into the bottom of the mirror housing. And when you turn your right turn signal on, it pops up on the large 8+ inch display screen in the dash to show you what's on your right side, and it gives you the marker lines that you can turn on to see how close the car next to you is when you're changing lanes. That is a feature I haven't seen on many other cars, even twice or 3 times the price of this Honda Accord. So that's a neat feature. Of course, you have your back fin and your sunroof and the hybrid wheels, which I think are pretty classy on this Honda Accord, but do beware that that gloss insert into the fins of those wheels, 17 inches, are going to be really nasty to keep clean over time. As you can see, it's been snowing here in Denver. Oh wait, no, it's all gone. But all the dirt, even after a car wash, is still on our wheels, which means you're really going to have to polish them. Let's check out the back and see what's going on out there. All right, so from the back, you have what I think is a really nice Accord back-end treatment. You know, in the early to mid-2000s, I wasn't as much a fan of the Accord design. They had a version, if you'll remember, that really had kind of a short bustle back, and then it had the kind of sloping nose with the big headlights. I think they've finally gotten the proportions right on this, and what you, again, are going to have trouble seeing here in the video is that these taillights have a ledge here, and they wrap into the design of the center chrome trim ring back here, and it's just a nice way for the design to wrap around. And then you have this lip spoiler on the Touring model that wraps around with it in the same type of curve. It's just a nice look. You don't need this lip spoiler, and you won't have it on some of the base models, but it really does give this neat kind of sporty edge to the Touring model that I really like. I think it didn't need a big wing spoiler. It just needed this little accent back here on the back lip of the trunk lid. Of course, you have your third brake light, you have your rear camera, and it's a multi-view rear camera in this Accord Touring, and the hybrid, of course. And you've got your badging down here. And what I mean, just going back to the camera, is that you get a more fisheye lens at a slightly different angle so that you get a bigger view of the rear of the car, or you get a straight down view, or you get a more standard, what we would think of a standard rear camera view. So you'll want to check that out if you are in the market for one of these mid to full size four doors, especially if you want one more on the luxury end. Now, the other feature, of course, you have is the rear trunk release right there, and you can see we have a decent sized trunk. Now, remember, it is a hybrid, so just like the Camry and the Sonata, you're going to lose some of this rear trunk room because of the batteries and the hybrid systems. You're also going to gain those vents on either side of the rear seats inside. But it's still a decent trunk room. It does not have a pass-through though. And remember when we talked about this on my other videos about hybrids, some have small pass-throughs like the Camry, and others have larger pass-throughs like the Sonata. And then like the Infiniti M Sedan, you have no pass-through again, and it's a smaller, even smaller trunk. This is about 12.7 cubic feet, but you can get over $300 worth of Costco groceries in it. Now, that may not be a ton anymore in today's economy, but it's still a lot of grocery bags being crammed into this trunk. Let's go check out the interior and see what they've done inside. All right, so from the driver's seat here inside the 2014 Honda Accord Hybrid, you have a nice package in the Touring model. This has the two-tone kind of beige cream interior with the black accents, and then this kind of wood-like accent along the dash and the door handle areas. Now, what I like about this car is that it always tells you what driver memory setting you have when you have the car on. It lights up with a nice blue light to tell you it's on 1 or it's on 2. I also like that this vehicle has a lot of steering wheel controls that are easy to understand right from when you get in the car. And then you have your lane departure warning, your traction control and econ button, which is your kind of green feature like in the Camrys, the eco feature. And then of course, that big screen I talked about in the gauge cluster, which is just really pretty. It lights up with green and blue, and it has a center display with information like all your EV information and your miles per gallon, trip computer, and all of that. And it is just a really nice display. It is back to that same kind of design like the 2006 and 2007 Honda Civic, and especially the SI with the digital gauges that, I was really a fan of. I think this is a neat car from the interior perspective, especially with the double touch, the touch screen here in the center, and then the double screen with the control here in the center stack, not in the console. And it's actually easier to see and find and navigate in that position. And I like it quite a bit because it's just right at where you would be changing everything else. We'll talk about that more in the real video, the real review. But before we get there, we've got to jump under the hood and tell you more about this hybrid drive system and what it offers from a miles per gallon and performance perspective. All right, so under the hood, what you're going to find is the inline 4-cylinder hybrid motor from Honda. Now, every brand has their little gimmick, their little branding thing that kind of sticks in your mind. With Toyota, it's always been Synergy Drive, hybrid Synergy Drive. Then you have, of course, the Mazdas that have the Sky Active technology, and Sky Active is going to be all about the technology under the hood and the body and the suspension. Well, what Honda has is they have the Earth Dreams technology, and the Earth Dreams technology is going to be their hybrid brand. So that's what we have here under the hood. It's going to be about 196 total system horsepower, and that means you're going to get right about 140 horsepower out of the main motor, and then that leads you to the connection to the wheels, which is going to be your electronically controlled CVT, or continuously variable transmission. So you don't really have different gears in this vehicle, and like most hybrids, you don't have paddle shifters or anything like that, but you do have that what has become more standard B feature, or engine brake feature. So you can downshift to some degree. It just won't be as controlled as something like the Infiniti M hybrid, where you actually could still shift the gears pretty dynamically. It will get very good gas mileage at 50 miles per gallon in the city, 47 miles per gallon combined, and then that 45 highway rating. So it's actually a pretty cool engine, and we think that even with all of these air training missions going on around us today, that this is a pretty cool car with pretty cool engine technology. And it surprised me because I haven't driven a Honda Accord hybrid in a while. So that just reminds me to tell you, from a first impressions perspective, don't forget to check out everything in the class, even if you haven't looked at it in a while. Let's go see how this vehicle drives out on the road. Hitting the road in the 2014 Honda Accord Hybrid is, well, an experience that is much like driving the standard Accord, and that's what makes it pretty cool. The hybrid is not as noticeable as you might expect, and it does add significant mileage to the total range of the vehicle. But moreover, it still drives like a Honda. It still has that kind of sportier edge than the hybrids from Toyota and Hyundai. It has a nice steering feel, and along with the transmission and all of the technology in the vehicle, it is, from a first impressions perspective, exactly what you'd expect from the Honda brand. But we'll have more details in the real video, so stay tuned for that, and we'll have the real wrap-up coming up next. So that's the Real First Impressions video edition on this 2014 Honda Accord Hybrid. This is the touring package and starts right about $35,000. You can get into a Honda Accord Hybrid like this, though, at a base model for just about $30,000, a little bit under. You're going to see some great fuel economy out of this vehicle from Honda, really competing with the Toyota Camry Hybrid, with 50 miles per gallon in town and a 47 miles per gallon combined rating from the EPA. Of course, it's still going to do well out on the freeway with a 45 mile per gallon out there. I think it's a neat looking vehicle. I think they've really done the looks up well with these different headlights with the blue glow around them and the running lights and the LEDs underneath. You've got your signature Honda badge here and a nice stately grille with good chrome trim. I think that the lower valence is nice with the angles we've been seeing, even out of the likes of the Camry, which tends to be the most conservative of the bunch. And I really like the exterior styling in general on this Honda Accord. There's a lot to like in technology, including the driver assist mirror on the right passenger side. That is such a cool feature. When you turn the turn signal on, it will show you the video on the screen, as well as you being able to look in the mirror. Really helps for blind spots. Of course, you have adaptive cruise and a host of other features on this car, and well, that means we have to go in more depth. So we'll do the real video, the real review coming up shortly, but until then, we hope you come back for more videos. I'm Jonathan McGrew. This is Real Auto Reports from Real Auto Ranch, and we'll see you down the road.